Is your coaching program missing this one essential marketing ingredient? Well, I can probably tell you, yes, it is. And it's the difference between your coaching business doing okay and your coaching business being overwhelmed by demand, people reaching out to you regularly, weekly, daily, for your services and getting the results that you promise. So if it's the first time joining one of my lives, I'm Brian Czekanski, and I help coaches in particular move their low ticket buyers to their high ticket coaching offers along the way. So again, this is something I learned along the way. There's obviously a bunch of different marketing essentials, but what I found is there's one key ingredient that most coaches either don't do well or just forget to include or not put enough focus towards, that leads to their business not doing as well from an online marketing perspective. And when especially when working with clients and doing this thing right, this one key thing is the difference between, again, their schedule being fully booked up and them being able to charge what they want and kind of struggling to get that traction along the way. So that one key thing that I'm talking about is really having a mechanism for their coaching business, kind of some kind of metaphor or analogy that kind of puts into the practice, kind of plants into the brain for their prospects why they can get the transformation, that outcome that you promise in your marketing. So it's all well and good to speak to the outcome that your prospects want the most. It's all good to kind of meet your prospects where they are. But if you don't have some kind of mechanism that explains kind of the root cause of their problems and how you're going to move them to that full transformation and kind of give them that roadmap, that bridge to where they are, they're just going to be lacking. Maybe they're not going to mention it on a sales call. Maybe they're not going to be, maybe it's something they can't even articulate, but with that lack of belief on how they can figure it out in their own life and why you're that person that is able to get them there when everything else maybe hasn't worked for them, is the key difference. And I've seen it time and time again in working with coaches. So today I want to kind of just provide a really simple example of what a mechanism look like. I'm going to show you a couple different emails of emails that have worked really well. I've tested them hundreds, if not thousands of times in terms of split test, and it always comes out really well in terms of the overall metrics, conversions, and people coming through. But this is something I can really translate to your coaching business as well, especially if you're selling high ticket. Like, how do I get more people over the line? How can I get over some of those questions, objections that they have here? A lot of it is due to how can you help me in my own personal situation? Give me that visibility on how I'm going to get there. Like, I truly believe in that outcome. I truly believe that you're the right coach for me, but I'm just not seeing that bridge. Like, how am I going to get over this canyon that has prevented me from getting there over time? So let me just jump into this example again, to put it in the simplest of terms. Like, what's a metaphor or analogy that I can use? One that has worked again and again for me is just thinking of like a light switch. So again, this is just a couple different emails that I start with. So the first one, again, you can see like this is kind of a weight loss type of audience that I'm going out to. In the first case of this email, it's actually not an email that I wrote, but it gives you a sense of like where I started from in terms of testing and things like that. So when I was working at the time, I was working for a weight loss company. One of my predecessor copywriters, I think it might be Joey Persia, or maybe somebody before him, was able to write this email that just continued to perform well. A lot of times I couldn't beat it, but I eventually was kind of able to kind of take the key frameworks of what we have here. So you can see in terms of the from name, kind of catching their attention in terms of avoiding breakfast, and in terms of like a standard popular breakfast that they have all the time in terms of email. But really, as I broke this email down, as you go through it, what you eat for breakfast has a huge impact on how much fat you burn for the rest of the day, because certain foods can either turn off or on your body's most powerful fat burning hormones. So again, go back to, in the same way, is not calling it out directly in terms of the metaphor, but think about a light switch in terms of like turning on the light in a room, kind of taking it from darkness to light. In the same way, we're trying to do that from a coaching perspective. We're trying to take them from where they are right now. They're not happy about whatever it is, or maybe they're looking for an outcome that they haven't been able to reach right now. Like that simple light switch type of metaphor lets them know that this is something that with your help, they can get to really quickly, really easily. It doesn't take a huge amount of effort. Again, what we want to do is really sell them what they want and give them what they need. So once they're in their program, once they're in your coaching program, obviously you can give them the habits and steps and all those kind of things to get them the results they're looking for. But in your marketing, we really want to kind of sell that new opportunity, that easy opportunity in terms of doing that. So using that metaphor of just a light switch, like almost that instantaneous type of transformation, kind of paints a picture in their mind of like, okay, I'm here right now. I can get to that transformation really quickly. And then in your marketing kind of spilling out like, okay, how is this possible? Can you insert something in there that is going to be that light switch? It could be your coaching. It could be a problem that you've discovered. It could be your system for going out there, all those kind of things. So again, this was kind of my inspiration in terms of like digging in a little bit more in terms of using that light switch type of metaphor. So again, we go into this next email. This next email did really well in terms of like, again, a weight loss program, different type of product here. So I'm selling an MCT type of powder here. So you can see I'm kind of calling out one of the problem areas for this audience. So it's a female audience kind of calling out one of the things that they hate the most and in terms of the subject line here. But you can see in terms of, again, calling out the problem. Then we get a little bit further down in terms of like the text right here. So here's where I really lean into that metaphor of really flipping your body's fat burning switch from off to on, instantly breaks down the food in your stomach and flushes ugly fat out of your body, shrinking a big tummy in just 24 hours. So again, speaking to the outcome that they want the most. And you can see a little bit up here, like one of the things I did is kind of call out the problem that they didn't even know existed. So again, using that light switch type of example, if your answer is yes, chances are your body's fat storage switch has been accidentally turned on. So you can see how, again, I kind of created like this problem that they maybe not even have known of before, kind of like this fat storage switch. So again, like I've like in talking about how that's been accidentally turned on. So like, again, kind of creating like a root cause for their problems and then talking about like in talking about their transformation, what's going to be that leading thing for what they're trying to do. So again, thinking about, thinking about this product in this instance, using the product to kind of flip that switch. The product that I'm selling right now is going to flip that fat burning switch from off to on. It's going to result in all these benefits that they want the most, and get to the thing that they want at the end of it. So again, thinking about like in this instance, it was all about kind of using a product at breakfast in that morning. That one key habit is going to be the difference between them having less cravings, being able to burn more fat, all those kind of things. So tied into the VSL that it was going to, and you can see how the thing has gone through in terms of that. So again, think about in your coaching business, especially from a high ticket perspective, how can you develop a metaphor, an analogy? One of the other examples I had a few years ago, I worked with a coach that helped people nearing retirement age get into like what's that next stage, what's that second act we talked about it in terms of that career, whether it was volunteering or a second job, like a new career that they're going to get into as they got into 65 or above. We kind of used the mechanism of finding a new house and how do I find that next career, that next activity, that next thing that you're going to do for the rest of your life. Kind of use that like home buying type of experience to kind of walk people through kind of that 3-step transformation in terms of like, okay, like you don't just go out and buy a home and start looking at things. You first start with like gathering some ideas, gathering locations, all those kind of things. So really thinking about like what's going on in your audience's life. What are some metaphors, analogies that kind of bring your transformation into the real world, into their words that really make sense? How can you kind of create that picture in their mind so that it makes it super crystal clear on why this time is going to be different, why your coaching can help, and why it can make a difference along the way. So again, especially as you're thinking about, selling some of your high ticket type of, conversations and having those conversations. Again, this is something that I do on a daily basis via email and moving people from low ticket to high ticket for coaches, particularly in that health space. But really think about what is that metaphor, what's that mechanism that you do. It's where I spend the vast majority of my time really thinking about like what is something that I can put in super layman's terms so that they can see how their transformation is going to come through using your coaching or whatever product or service that I'm using along the way. So if this was helpful, hit that like button on whatever platform you're using. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Comment below what mechanism you might be using in your coaching marketing. Happy to provide some advice as well in the comments if it makes sense. And with that, I'll see you on a future live.